Amazon took a load of influencers down to London to see 20 minutes of footage and have a Q&A with the showrunners, and they may have waxed lyrical about how the showrunners' enthusiasm gave them confidence in the future, but now new marketing material is out, we get to compare perception to reality, and as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I am convinced that they are the right people to adapt Tolkien's work. I am bought into their vision and dedication. The footage showed a level of craftsmanship and attention to detail which is unparalleled. It's a love letter to the Professor. The scale and scope of this production is truly shining through. After meeting them, I feel the show is in very good hands. Absolutely felt like Middle-earth, for sure. I actually low-key hated the trailer, but after seeing all of this footage, I felt a lot better. The footage is visually in line with the Oscar-winning trilogy. This feels like a homecoming. The vibe is right. I was absolutely 100% blown away. I was beyond impressed. I had goosebumps. The visual aspect is very good, and it gives us an air of something already known, quite different from the trailer itself that was released months ago. After seeing the footage and chatting with the showrunners, my hype level has increased substantially. The footage was both exciting and impressive. I really liked what I saw. Everything is wonderful. I went back to Middle-earth. I was very happy with everything. This is without a doubt the greatest series of all time. What the We had 3 covers, each with their own bombshells, one of which was so bad, I wouldn't have even given it in as a homework assignment at school, and yet this is supposed to be a finished product. On a project worth this much money, I wouldn't have expected something so lazy and badly done, but here we are. But most of all, the worst one, I think, was this, because this really shows the contradiction in their own belief system. There's a strange thing in media at the moment about how all the male characters should be put down and humiliated, but simultaneously, all the female characters should act like men. I can't imagine living in a world where you seem to despise men, but also think that being male is the pinnacle of human behavior, and so that is why all women should do it. For some reason, we can't have femininity anymore. No, we've got to have type Bs. That is how you end up with this as presumably what they thought as a power pose. Why? Because that's how men sit. It's not how women sit, but it is how a type B sits. We must ignore that there are biological reasons why men sit like that, because they've got really sensitive external dangly bits, and type Bs don't. There's literally not a single reason to sit like that, unless you're trying to imitate a man. But the best bit is that the showrunners clearly understand that there are different societal messages given out by body language across the sexes. So for a man, it just means you've got dangly bits, but for a woman, you come across as a lady of disrepute. Or if that doesn't translate internationally, it means you look like a bit of a whore. And the showrunners clearly understood the difference. Why? Because they had to cover up. Because at some point, the photographer made her do the pose and thought, oh no, we can't have her do that. She's going to be winking at the audience. We better get some chainmail on her to cover her up. The fact that you had to cover up means that you knew there was something inherently wrong with the pose, and yet you decided to do it anyway. Why? Because you see femininity as a weakness. That's why in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, we had this. Whereas now, we've got this. Which way, Western man? And that's even without the slogan that says, don't expect the same Galadriel, which is weird, considering there's only one Galadriel. If it's not the same Galadriel, then it's not Galadriel. It just means you've put a name onto a new character that you've fabricated out of thin air. Congratulations. You've just admitted it's not Lord of the Rings. The other oddity is that she seems to be doing the Kubrick stare, where essentially you tilt your head down and look up under your eyebrows, which is generally reserved to mean that you're evil. As it says here, it's arguably the most easily executed type of death glare. Either way, it's really creepy and ominous, which probably isn't the exact angle they're supposed to be going for with Galadriel. But then it goes, although, depending on the context, it can also be very badass, which is exactly what they've attempted to do here, but instead, yeah, you failed. Next, we get the glory of this picture, which has all the previous problems with the characters. Namely, I don't understand why people that live underground need innate biological protection from the sun. But that's not my problem with the picture. My problem is what in all of the name of holy Photoshop have you done to her? If you're going to do these type of pictures, less is definitely more. You're supposed to keep it realistic. It's supposed to look on the picture as it does in real life. Why? Because if it looks good in real life, it will on the page. You shouldn't think, oh, we'll fix it in post. It can look terrible over there, But don't worry, we'll just do some magic wizardry to it and fix it and actually make it look good on camera. No, the best way to make something look real is for it to actually be real. The less you touch it, the better. And whoever did this Photoshop didn't realize this, as it kind of looks like they've put some almost paint-like filter over her. They've messed with her that much. Seriously, dude, you need to be careful with what sliders you mess with, because it doesn't look real when you actually see the entire thing. At least he looks like he actually exists. She looks like she was put into the picture afterwards as a painting. I will say though, it looks like they actually did mess with her hair so that it's balanced now, unlike the original picture that it was. I'm not sure they've got it exactly right, but it's far better than the original picture. I do wonder if they fixed that in real life, or the reason why it's such a mess in Photoshop is because they had so many errors like that to fix in post. What on earth have we got here? The showrunners thought it couldn't be Lord of the Rings without the hobbits in it, which is ridiculous. But then they also couldn't put the hobbits in it, so they just invented their own species and pretended. They've even got the little message to them, we're the traditional Tolkien little guy. Because obviously it wouldn't be Lord of the Rings unless you had a little person in it. Because when I think what is really fundamental to a universe, the first thing I always think of is people's height. And then Lenny Henry, what on earth have you done to Lenny Henry? This guy was a major part of my childhood. He was on the TV all the time back in the day. He's great. But what have you done to the poor bloke? Not only have you made him look like a British barrister, but the lamb chops as his sideburns aren't even in the correct place. They'd be way further forward on his head, and down here, I don't even know where this hair comes from. Is it growing out of his shoulder? Because it can't grow out of it. His chin ends there. So all of this, where is it coming from? Are you telling me that his sideburns grow out of his cheek here and then grow down? What? I can't imagine getting a major acting role, coming in for your costume, and then finding out that they've made you look like that. Look, I know when it came to the Wheel of Time costumes, one of the criticisms a lot of people used was that all the buildings looked really clean and all the costumes looked really clean, and these people were supposed to be traveling. But please, can we at least have them wash? And this is why when people are like, oh, we just need to wait for Series 3 before we can judge it, it is so astronomically ridiculous to suggest that. We've got shown the trailer, we saw it, and saw what it was like. We've got given covers, and we've seen what they're like. And the only people who seem to be saying this is amazing, like, I really liked what I saw, everything is wonderful, this is without doubt the greatest series of all time, and then we actually get shown what the greatest series of all time looks like. The greatest series of all time. And they're like, no, don't trust your lying little eyes. No, trust us. Trust us. We've seen the 20 minutes of footage that we're not going to show you, we're not going to talk about because we're under NDA. Just trust us. Don't trust your eyes. Trust us. If you want to get people invested in a world, if you want people to get invested in characters, then they should be believable. Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones was believable as a warrior. And yet, for some reason, in this, it just comes across as you despising femininity. Something that the character definitely was when it came to the original trilogy, but now, no, that's been completely removed from it. This doesn't come across as you trying to entertain people. This comes across as a personal vendetta, a personal message that the people behind it want to push. And hey, if you want to do that, you can. It's your money that you're going to burn. But you probably shouldn't try and go out and gaslight all your audience and tell them that the show is something that it's not. Because you can't simultaneously say that this is Lord of the Rings, this is going back to Middle-earth, this is the Tolkien that you know and love, and then come out and say, don't expect the same Galadriel, because we've completely rewritten her as a person, which means it isn't Galadriel, because there can only be one, and it's the one from the books. But let me know your thoughts down below. If you like the video, press like, subscribe more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.